Thank you, and I want to thank all of you for being here today. I would have liked to have spent more time in here hearing your testimony as well as that of the first panel, but I've had other hearings that I have needed to attend. So thank you for being willing to come and talk to us about these important issues. Tiara Standing Soldier Thomas, a Haskell student athlete who unfortunately could not be with us today, provided testimony for the committee, and I want to quote from what she said. I experienced many family, educational, and personal struggles during my time at Haskell, for which I received no support. In many cases, Haskell administrators exacerbated or created challenges. At a Champions of Character event regarding suicide in February of 2022, as well as during classes, I revealed my suicide attempts and had no wellness check done on me. I was making a cry for help and I needed someone to conduct a wellness check on me. My cry was not heard. She goes on to explain that she was drugged, raped, and held against her will for 15 hours off campus. She took initiative and approached the university but received no support from Haskell administration. Instead of being assisted, she was kicked out of Haskell twice due to a low GPA, and she was denied her Pell Grant. To say that this is unacceptable is an understatement. I commend Ms. Thomas for speaking out for changes so that young women can feel safe on campus and depend on our faculty when reporting sexual assault. Unfortunately, the Biden-Harris administration has wasted years with inaction, but now real change must come to Haskell Indian Nations University, and I urge Secretary Haaland to do the right thing, and that is to engage with the students, investigate these issues, and root out the corruption at Haskell and BIE. Dr. Mays, I'm going to direct my questioning to you. How has the student body at Haskell reacted to the mistreatment of Ms. Thomas and other survivors?
As far as I'm concerned, as of 1 week ago, so I don't know if something's happened in this past week, they haven't reached out to her in any format, indirectly or directly.
And I understand that you have had other students confide in you as they do not trust certain faculty at Haskell. Can you give us a bit more detail in that regard?
Yes, about a month into the Haskell investigation, started July 11th. On August 9th, I was called and asked for help, requested for help by one Haskell board member, and I can share their name outside of session, and then one investigator, Erlin Pisanio. And they said they were having major issues getting students to trust them and to go confide in them. So they called me, a male cross-country coach, to help them with that, which was probably the most concerning issue. One, that's not my job. I want to report it, not investigate it. But they were able to get a lot of the victims to start coming forward. I talked to a couple of women that approached me, and I asked them, so a few women, more brave than me, kind of got the other women to come forward and give their testimony.
What is the culture at Haskell that has created this kind of a situation?
Don't report. At some point, though, the cycle has to break. You know, I get people want to pass the buck to the next guy, but, you know, that's one of my lessons to the students is, you know, who's breaking the cycle? Are you going to get help from outside? And most of them say no. So I was like, all right, it's your responsibility. Break the cycle.
So have you been involved with other universities besides Haskell?
Yes, 2.
And have you encountered these types of issues at those universities as well?
Non-existent.
What is the difference?
The complete fear to report at Haskell due to certain alliances.
What does that mean?
Certain people figure out who has the protection, so new employees will become friends with this one group because they get protection. They kind of do each other's bidding. So it forms a gangism. You know, as one employee stated, you know, hey, you know, you probably don't want to listen to me, but don't report it. And I just said, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to listen to you. And then he kind of just shook his head and walked away. So the culture is to don't report it and get along with who's basically getting the most out of the system.
What is the need for protection? You've used that word a couple of times now. What are you referencing?
Take for these women, I am not familiar with any of their cases, somewhat following to see if they somewhat don't get triggered seeing the predator. I'm not familiar with one incidence where they removed the predator per report. No review, nothing. They would just sign a no contact, so the women couldn't go certain places that the predators were. In the report, they state one of the employees reported for sexual assault. He was off for 3 to 4 months, which wasn't true. He was at our staff meetings. He was teaching on campus. He was never off campus for more than, he could have been off campus for a few days, but they say they reviewed the reports and he was off campus, worked from home. That's not true.
I'm out of time, but I'm going to repeat it. We need to fix this, and we need to fix it now.